Don't think that just because you enter the tariqat, then you are going to... it depends on the person too. If he's looking for guidance, if he's looking because he is sick, he understands that he has spiritual sickness and he wants to get a cure, Allah will find something, someone to help him. If he doesn't think that he is sick, and if he thinks that he is high station, if he thinks that he is going to become a saint, if he thinks that running after Ilmul-ad-Din, that is the hidden knowledge, it is what tariqat is about. There are places where you can run for these things, but it is not looking at your ego. It is not looking at the biggest jihad. It is not looking at akhlaq. So, your question here and there, like this also. People who are looking for ilm, that is the external knowledge. Is it necessary? Of course it's necessary. But everything must be necessary according to the time and according to the place. Good things that is not according to the time and the place, it becomes not only unnecessary, it becomes forbidden. There are forbidden places for you to worship. There are forbidden times for you to worship. Everything that you are doing in the, let's say, 5 pillars of Islam, there are certain times when it's either forbidden or it's not recommended for you to do. This is knowledge, isn't it? Okay. So now when it comes to which comes first, which one is more important, the external knowledge or the internal knowledge, person must ask which one is more important now in the man, his external or his internal. First you have to ask yourself that question. These times are very confusing times. Let's say in the old days, whatever that means to you in the old days, we're saying the times of Khilafat. We're saying in the times when Islam was ruling and tariqats they were ruling. And the nation was being taught manners, that when the child is born, you don't give it knowledge. You teach it manners. Yes? Even now, when your child is born, what do you teach it first? Knowledge or manners? You teach it manners. A time and a place, a protocol. You teach it how to become good, not to misbehave. All this is spiritual. Then the external knowledge comes later. Once it reaches to the age of 7 years old, then you say, now you have to pray. Meaning you have to learn now the externals of knowledge. But the internal part of it is already there. There are families, there are extended families, societies, communities that is teaching you that doesn't matter how rich you are, how important you are, how knowledgeable you are, if you don't have good manners, you are nothing, you are garbage. Yes? Good. Then, when you want to go deeper inside the spiritual knowledge, then you're going to find a guide, a murshid. Certain things are given to you. Maybe your heart is opened a little bit more. Maybe you're able to get certain hidden knowledges also, but like they're saying, the end of their way is the beginning of our way. The end of all 40 tariqats is the beginning of this way, of this tariqat. And this tariqat is concentrating on your nafs, on your ego. After everything that you're learning, let's say outside knowledge, and also, let's say, mystical knowledge. After all of that is finished, now you are going to go back and you are going to fight against your nafs. You're going to understand what is your nafs. The end of their way is the beginning of our way. What is the end of our way? Something to think about now. And so, don't think that because a person is... We have to say first, no? You and me, we should not pretend and claim and think that we are Naksibendis, the way that it is supposed to be. This is Akhir Zaman. We cannot even come close to that reality. We cannot even come close to the reality of those murids that were calling themselves that, let alone the sheikhs now. So that we have to know. First, we have to understand that so that we don't start growing wings and we start flying and thinking that we're like this or we're like that. Don't confuse our sheikhs now. Our sheikhs are different. Us, murids, we have to think that way. So, now, what are they concentrating on us? The same teachings, but we're not of the same level. Same teachings. What are the teachings? For you, you must know yourself. The one who knows himself, he knows his Lord. Now you must know your ego, your tricks and the traps of your ego. You must not only know it, now you must have the tools to be able to fight it. Now you must have the tools and the skill now to be able to ride on your ego, not just to know. So what if you know? Now you must learn how to control it. The ego, it is like the burak. You're supposed to ride it. It can bring you to higher stations. When you are sitting on that power and you're controlling it. When you're letting that power to control you, again, you're garbage. You're no good for nothing. Don't think we enter into Nakshibendi order, then immediately you're going to think you are high level. Please don't. At least not following SahibulSaif. We must be real about this. We must be. Where we're living? In the Ahir of the Ahir Zaman. You're living when the whole systems is running towards dunya, not running towards Mawla. Every system. We cannot claim anything. Now our sheikhs, yes, our sheikhs are holding on to it tightly. They are in it. For us now in this Ahir Zaman to follow them. But following them does not mean that just because we follow them, we say that we have love towards them. We claim we have love towards them. Real love is something else. We claim that we have. Immediately now we're going to be proud and think that we belong to the highest one. That anything we can do, later we say, oh, our Shaykh is going to save us. Our Shaykh is teaching us that you must be responsible. You must be responsible for yourself. He is saying, you cannot now do whatever you want to do and then rely on your Shaykh to bail you out when you're just sitting there doing nothing or doing the wrong things. Now, if you're running to step in your ego, it's something else. If you're running and you are stepping in your ego and you're trying to serve, that you are failing a little bit here and there, that's something else. That's a little bit okay. But for those who are serving also, don't think, oh, I'm trying to serve, but you make the same mistakes, same ghaflat, year after year after year after year. That's no good too. That means that you are stuck now. So you're not going to say, yes, our Shaykh is great, but you're not going to say our Shaykh is great, so I belong to the great one, so I am also great. We cannot think that way. We should not, and we must not, and we are not. Our Shaykh is teaching us our own reality. He says, you think you have station, you think you have a maqam, you think you have a throne. Everyone's throne is in the toilet. That is what your throne is. He's teaching us now the skill to look at ourselves, to take control. He's teaching us, but we're not using it. Doesn't matter how long you've been with him. You're not using it. You are stuck. Now, if you are stuck, it's not good too. It doesn't mean neutral. It means now, if you are driving in the highway, even if it's 30 miles an hour, you are stuck in the middle of the road, tell me you're not a danger to yourself and to others. You are. What if you are in the highest road, the straight, fast lane? You cannot be. If you are stuck in that fast lane, you're going to become even bigger danger now. What if you are now stuck in the fast lane and people are now honking at you because you are now in danger, and you become, because you are stuck, you don't know your ego, you say everyone else is wrong. I'm right, and you turn around and you go the opposite direction. Isn't that suicide? That's complete suicide. Like what our Shaykh is teaching us, everyone is going to be hung according to his own 2 feet. We're finished. Well, we didn't finish Ashura. Ashura is still continuing, meaning Karbala, the meaning of it, the wisdom of it. Shaykh Efendi told us a story of when Hazrati Fatima was buried. And she was buried in the night because of the modesty. And when she was being buried, and there were some Sahabis that were so emotional. And this Sahabi was saying, "Oh earth, know who you are putting into you today. If you don't know, she is the mother of the youths of paradise. If you don't know that she is the wife of the Lion of Allah, Hazrati Ali. If you still don't know, you must know that she is the daughter of Fakhri Alam, Muhammad Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam." Then a sound came from the earth. And the sound is saying, "Oh, you who is calling on us, know that we have been given a work. You worry about yourself. That one that is coming to us, we have a work for them too. It does not matter." So what is that now teaching us? It's teaching us now we have to be very careful that even if those ones that were so special to Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, that they are going to have a day of reckoning. The prophets, they are going to have a day of reckoning. Then what about us? He's teaching us to be responsible. We are trying. You fail here and there. Pick up and move and go. Don't be stubborn. Understand what is your stubbornness. Understand what is your arrogance. Don't. Understand these things. Some they understand, but they cannot help. They fall back over and over again. You are going to fall back over and over again until you decide that this is killing you. Then you are going to have that power to stop it. Maybe it's going to take some time. But for those that are going to work hard on themselves, that they are going to control it hard, that time Allah and His prophets will send such mercy and such love and such support to you. That you will think, who am I? That time you are not going to look at whatever that is coming down to you. That time you're only going to think about the gunah that you have made. You're going to concentrate on that. And that fear is going to guide you. That time you're not going to be moved by people who praise you. That time you're not going to get too much affected by people who curse at you. Because that time you know yourself and you know how much that you need to do. And you know how much of it that you're able to do, it's because of Allah's rahmat. That time you're not going to listen too much. You're going to concentrate on your work. It's saying, what did you do for the sake of Allah today? Seriously think, what did I do for the sake of Allah today? If you say that you make zikr and you pray, you're doing this and you're doing that, this is all doing things that is going to benefit you. But for Allah's sake, where is that? We're saying this riwayat over and over again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Hazrat Musa, love those whom I love and hate those whom I hate. Those whom I love, you must love them. Those who I leave, you must leave them. Now this is a whole other ocean now. Who are the ones to love? How are you going to love them? One person coming up to the Holy Prophet ﷺ saying, Ya Rasulullah, I love you. The Prophet turned to him and said, then prepare yourself a hardship. This our Shaykh is concentrating on. You saying you love Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. You have that intention. And you coming here, prepare yourself a hardship. First, a lot of surgery is going to be done on you. Depending on how much sickness that you have and how much you're willing to surrender to the surgeon that is going to cut and fix you. You're not surrendering. It will continue. You're going to be here all your life, all your life. It will be. You're running to do certain things, is good, but there are certain things you're not surrendering. You're not going to go to that station where you're supposed to go. We're asking for the shafaat because for the sake of Allah, maybe you cannot do too many things, but for the sake of Allah, you can fight against your ego. You cannot worship, you cannot make charity so much, you cannot do anything, but you can fight against your ego. Then this is what you have to find. Today, what did my ego want? I must fight against it. What do I know my ego is like this? I fight it. The more you're fighting, the more closer you're going to be. And if you die in the way of fighting, those ones who die in the way of Allah, they are not dead, but they become shaheed, witnessing. You understand? Then what about those who are dying, who are killed in the way of the Jihadul Akbar, in the biggest jihad against the nafs? So these things you have to take and you have to see. So love those whom Allah loves and hate those whom Allah hates. Yes, there is. How are you going to understand this? Hold on to your murshid. You cannot figure out with your little brain. We cannot, you understand? Because now it is surgery. May Allah forgive me, inshallah. May Allah raise the station of our Shaykh. May Allah bless you. For the sake of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Al-Fatiha. Amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.